Okay, still on section 5.3. This is going to be help with homework for day 3. And in this day, we're going to be graphing a line once we're given an equation. And we're going to be using slope-intercept form. So I'm going to be following on page 273, example 4. So in this example, they're giving me an equation. They're giving me the equation 5 is equal to 6. And it just so happens that they're giving me this equation in standard form. And in order to do any graphing, we must have it in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is our mantra. We need everything to always be in y equals mx plus b form in order to graph. And then we'll be able to see what the slope and the y-intercept is. And in order to get it into slope-intercept form, we're really just solving for y, getting y alone. So we're going to take this equation, 5x minus 3y equals 6, and we're going to get y alone. I'm going to start subtracting 5x from both sides. And I have negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 6. Notice that I'm putting the negative 5x first and then the positive 6 next. And that's just because I want it in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now I have to divide everything by negative 3. And I get y equals negative 5 over negative 3 comes out to be 5/3 x. 6 over negative 3 is negative 2. So that's minus 2. So now I have my equation in slope-intercept form, and I can tell that my slope is going to be 5 over 3, and my y-intercept is going to be negative 2. Slope, y-intercept. And now I'm ready to graph. So here's my equation, y equals 5/3 x minus 2. Remember, my slope is 5 over 3, my y-intercept is negative 2. When we're graphing, we always start by putting a dot where the y-intercept is. So being negative 2 means I go to my y-axis and I go to negative 2 and I put a dot. And that's my starting point. Now from that starting point, I'm going to do my slope. And remembering that my slope is rise over run, both of these are positive 5 over positive 3. So I'm going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right 3. And that's where I put my next dot. And if I can, I'm going to always try to do as many dots as possible. Up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, puts me right here. Oopsie. And then I'm going to go down 5 and to the left 3 also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And that way I get one more dot. Then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to make a really nice line that goes through these dots. Remember, you want it nice and long, go through as many points as you possibly can. And that's the answer to this problem, is just drawing the graph. So this one is done. Now I'm going to graph the equation 2x equals 3y. And as always, I have to have the equation in the form y equals mx plus b. So I wanted to have the y term be on the left. So I'm basically just going to start by reversing this. 3y equals 2x. And now to get the y alone, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I have y equals 2/3 x. I don't have anything else in the equation, so my b, it's like I'm having a plus 0 here. So my y-intercept is 0, and my slope is positive 2 over positive 3. So as always, I'm going to graph this by starting with my y-intercept. So I'm going to put a dot on 0, and then I'm going with my rise over my run. Again, they're both positive, so it's up 2 and to the right 3. Up 2, to the right 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do this as many times as I can. Up 2, to the right 3. I'm going to go in the other direction. The other direction is like going -2 over -3. So that would be down 2 and to the left 3. Down 2 to the left 3. And that's about it. Make my line go through all the dots. And I have this equation graphed. Now I'm going to graph the equation y equals -3. So notice that there's no x in this equation. So right away, if it just says y equals, we've got to think of our Hoy and Vux. And you're just going to have to know when you're going to have to start thinking about Hoy and Vux. So this problem is a Hoy problem. So what does this tell me? It tells me that I'm going to have a horizontal line. The slope of that line is going to be 0. And I know that the equation is y equals -3. So if it's going to be horizontal, it's going to be parallel with the x-axis. So I'm going to go down to -3, and that's where I'm going to draw that horizontal line. And that's all it is. That's all you're going to do for that one. So next, let's try a Vux problem. So we're going to graph x equals 2. Once again, you see that there's an x, but there's no y. That's what tells you that it's going to be a Vux problem. This tells me I'm going to have a vertical line. Anytime you have a vertical line, the slope of that line is undefined. And it's going to go through 2. So if it's going to be vertical, it's going to be parallel with the y-axis. So I'm going to go over to 2, and I'm going to draw a vertical line. And that's all you do to graph that one. So let's just remember one thing about the Vux and the Hoy. If you are finding the slope, anytime that 0 is on the top of a fraction, that fraction equals 0, and the slope would be 0. And that's where you would have a horizontal line. And then if you have 0 on the bottom of any fraction, that comes out to be undefined. That's an undefined slope, which would always be the vertical line. And that would be the Vux problem.